Following significant new developments in the migrant crisis, new letters from the Biden administration to state and city leaders pushes back on the claims the White House isn't doing enough to help, and even offers recommendations on what local leaders can do to better deal with the crisis. Meanwhile, another large protest last night on Staten Island at the site of former school being used to house asylum seekers. Eyewitness News reporter Janice Yu live at the Roosevelt Hotel in Midtown with more. Janice.
Good morning, David. Staten Island elected leaders actually filed a lawsuit against New York City to stop the city from housing about 300 or so migrants at that former school after some legal back and forth. Where it stands right now is that migrants are allowed to stay there for the time being as this goes through the legal process. But, you know, community members and city leaders making it clear they do not want this to happen. They say not in their neighborhood. Hundreds of people gathered once again to protest outside of the former St. John Villa Academy to protest the city's decision to house about 300 migrants there. Now, the school closed back in 2018, and the city bought the property back then. People who live nearby say this is a safety concern since the property is in the middle of a neighborhood, and there are two schools nearby.
This cannot stand. This is not right. This must end now. St. John Villa. It's the worst place you could possibly put individuals.
Meanwhile, the Department of Homeland Security is responding to the city and state's pleas for help, though it isn't in the form of immediate, tangible resources. In a letter, the DHS provided suggestions for how the city and state can better handle the ongoing crisis. Things like improving data collection, planning, case management, communication, and other day-to-day aspects of the operation. This comes after a Biden administration team's week-long assessment earlier this month. And just last week, Governor Kathy Hochul directly criticized the administration, saying the migrant crisis originated with the federal government and therefore it should be up to the federal government to help them fix it. Now, in response to this letter, Mayor Adams says he is appreciative of the collaborative process between the city, state, and the federal government, but he says that letter does little to help the situation that's happening right now on the ground. Live